Yeah, I've used a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I've been looking around for something that's not greasy and sticks around. The swimmers like it. A lot of triathletes like it, so I figured,
We're talking about sunblock. I found a nice copy. Telling the group about. On this ride, Paul and I left Northampton, rode into the woodlands. We picked up our group from the Alden Village Center, headed down Research Forest, took Honea-Egypt all the way out to 2854, Raven Chapel, Mill Route, down into Montgomery. We stopped at Taco. All of that's on film. After that, off camera, we rode through Mount Pleasant Drive into the forest, came down 149 into Montgomery, and took Spring Branch Road after getting off of Old Plantersville Road, back through Keenan, cut off the Hills Parkway. Then we went on Majestic Drive, and we came back on Honea-Egypt Road into the woodlands. We took the back way to go out to 1488 Tamina and came back into the woodlands. I think you would love the clips we got for you. There was a chase about the latter part of the ride, and it was very interesting. We're leaving the Alden Village Center in the Woodlands, Texas. It is 29 degrees Celsius. It's hot. This is like 85 degrees at 7:01 in the morning. You know. So our temperatures went from low 90s to like triple digits with no warning. And we've been dealing with tornadic activity and extreme temperatures in the southeastern part of the U.S. the last week or so. Georgia, Louisiana, Arkansas, Texas, we're getting slammed. Probably Alabama. So we're having hot temperatures and tornadoes. I mean, tearing up people's homes. In fact, my wife had to drive 8 hours. You know, she had help, but she had to drive to go get her mom because she's up in northeastern Texas, I guess, near the Arkansas border, a place called Pittsburgh, Texas. And she went and brought her down because the tornadoes damaged the grid, and they have to shut down the grid for safety purposes because there were a lot of live wires or whatever, and so they said they would be out of power until Tuesday, and that was like Saturday. And with triple-digit temperatures, yeah, you can't play around. So she put a crew together, and she and her brother did an 8-hour drive both ways, you know, sharing the load, and went and brought. So their mom's hanging out with us for the Father's Day weekend that we had. I went and got my pedicure and manicure on Father's Day. It was cool. Got my feet taken care of. It's been a long time. The lady at the salon, she said, I haven't seen you in months. I told her, I said, I'm too busy to be coming here every couple of weeks like my wife does. I said, nah. But it was good to go. I hope you had a nice Father's Day weekend, all the dads out there. It was nice just hanging out with the family. So I took Sunday off, which was Father's Day, and just relaxed. Let myself get pampered, put it out. So as we roll through here, in about a kilometer and a half, the two guys at the front are going to just go through a red light, and Mike Barreras and Laura follow because they're just engrossed in conversation, and they were not paying particular attention. But Paul and I stopped because if there were no cars or anything, we probably would have rolled through. But there were cars on the other side. It just doesn't set a good example for us cyclists. And it's not safe. So, Mike apologized and said, I wish you'd have, but he wasn't paying attention. I really fault the two guys in front because you're leading. This is a train. You're leading a train, and you need to think about the others behind you. Don't lead the train in harm's way, so to speak. But that's how a lot of cyclists ride, you know, the light changing and it's close and they just go through. So a lot of times the drivers don't even expect us to stop. A lot of times we come to a four-way stop sign, they'll already be there and they'll be waiting to see what we're gonna do, even though we're not there yet. And I just usually wave them on and say, go ahead and go. Because they don't expect us to stop, because a lot of cyclists don't stop and nobody wants to hit somebody. So even though they're there early, they sit and they wait to see if you're going to run the stop sign, so that at least there's not going to be a close call. And and that needs to change. We need to get a better. You see that car on the left? So we stop. Paul and I stop. And there are cars in the left lane next to us.
We're not late for anything. This is what we want to do.
So what I'm telling Paul is, this is where we want to be. This is the appointment. If we were in a hurry, we wouldn't be riding our bicycles. So there's no reason to take chances when you think about it. And I'm saying this for all of us, everyone hearing this. If you were late for something, you wouldn't pick the bike as a transport.
I knew Pedro wasn't going to do that because that's how they ride.
Let them do that. We don't do that. No line. We don't do that.
Yeah, we don't do that. And so Mike and Laura are waiting. They rolled because they were following those wheels and not really paying attention, just talking. And you hear Mike
Abby said, I'm going to
tell us
cite you for
about it.
littering. I said, I'm going to write you a ticket the next time you run a red light.
That's okay.
Yeah, sorry.
That was Abby. Yeah, they're apologizing. That was Abby. I was on a ride last week. I think a couple of weeks ago. You know how you open the wrapper on the gel, SIS gel? It tears off at the top, and we're riding fast. So I spat the wrapper, just a piece that tears off, so you can get the gel. I usually keep the whole thing. He had the nerve to tell me, but he was psyched for littering. So I told him, I said, next time I see you run a red light, I'll write you a ticket. He laughed like he usually does. It's like, please.
He said, you guys know you're supposed to stop back there, right? Yeah. Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm telling Mike that we got lectured a long time ago, Paul and I, by our local officer, because we were riding in the neighborhood, just chatting, and we just casually rolled a stop sign, and there were no other cars there. And he pulled up, he said, you guys know you're supposed to stop back there, right? And so we apologize. And so it's kind of like we have to set the example. Where I live, my neighbors know me, because of the channel and whatever else. But so I'm very cognizant of setting the example, because within 5 miles of where I live, most people know who we are. They know Paul and I. Paul was in the line at some restaurant and some guy came up to him, "You the guy ride with the other guy?" And Paul didn't even know who it was. So we can't do that. And it's not because of that. It just doesn't make sense. We have to set the proper example. That's English Mike up there on the right, Mike Bradbury. He rides from Lake Windcrest like Mike Barrera. They live in the same area, and he comes up to meet us. So he's out here waiting.
I told all those guys that in a friendly way, they basically moved to avoid us. Let's put it out there. I mean, because they wanted us to drop out of the
what Mike is talking about is people moved to a different group that's leaving from Zanti. Zanti's is a restaurant about 500 meters up the road here. So people moved away because they didn't like our pace, as opposed to us setting up different speed groups. But nobody wanted to be the one in Group B or Group C. Who cares? So what he's talking about is we're so fragmented in the area because when the pace is too high, people just go somewhere else, as opposed to say, hey, let's have different speed groups, so you ride with the A's for a while, then you drift back. You will hear Mike talking about all that. So we don't have a lot of cohesion in the area. We're all splintered all over the place. So Paul and I try to keep this ride as a steady, existing ride that people can always count on every Saturday. Because a lot of the other rides, they come up from time to time,
Just a mess. Yeah. But it was a big thing for them.
So what I'm telling Mike is nobody wanted to be the guy in Group C or Group B or whatever. I don't know why that was a big deal.
Because, the thing is there, where I come from.
So Mike is talking about what they do in San Diego.
Because riders, they move up, if they're new, they move up from group to group with 7 groups. And then as you, even the guys like me been around for decades, if I'm feeling good, I might go to the B's that day, or bad, I'll go to the B's.
Back. Exactly.
Or I'll start with the A's, and if I get dropped, I'll go back with the B's. It was like you enter, and then guys that were aspiring Cat 1-2s, I used to always say, start with the A's, hang on as long as you can. When you get dropped, filter back to the B's.
Yep.
And then the next week, try to stay, another minute longer or whatever.
Yep.
That's how you improve. And that's what, guys have been doing there for years.
You always got to ride up to the group you want to ride with.
So it actually can be much more beneficial to the area if you have a club like that.
So I get a lot of questions about, do you have a group that's slower? Or somebody posted on the channel last week.
Yeah.
Do you have a less professional group?
Yeah.
They consider us to be professional because of how we ride.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, we have other groups.
Yeah, but they're all over the place. There's no one group that has different levels.
Being fractured
Maybe, as we get more riders, maybe
small
people will be more open to that. But
that's one way.
everybody here lets their ego get in the way. Who cares whether you lead Group B or whatever? Who cares? There's some days I don't want to ride fast. This light ends up being very long.
This is a long light.
But we saw it green in the distance as we go through changes. So we're already in the intersection, so that was okay to go through like that. But if you have not entered the intersection and the light turns yellow, even in a vehicle, slow down. There's no point in speeding up. There's a joke where somebody's asked, what does green mean? Green means go. What does red mean stop? What does yellow mean? And the kid said, yellow means go really fast. Because I guess whoever the kid was riding with, whenever there's a yellow light, they would gun it. And, something's been going around for a while. We laugh about it. There is a dog on this road. Last week, I talked about him. A little poodle. I don't know if it's a guy or a girl, but he's got like pink tail and I think pink ears and a pink tail, and his body's white. And he's been walked again. He lives here on the left, and you hear me tell his owner, as a certain neighborhood, that dog's gonna get beat up by other dogs, just for looking like that. Then Laura said, "Well, he's matching you this week." Oh man, that's fun. Yeah, we had a blast. It's you have to ride with the right people. It's kind of like you have to hang with the right people. Let's put it that way. Just because everybody rides bike doesn't mean you're gonna like every cyclist. They're just people. So.
That's the same dog.
Yeah.
It's the same dog.
It's on the left. I don't know if there's a picture I can see.
Look at that dog.
So Laura said, "That's my color."
I thought there's certain neighborhoods you can beat up for looking like that.
The dog's famous.
Yeah.
Yeah, Laura said he matches you today. He's got like pink tail, pink ears.
Other dogs.
And then Mike's gonna say,
Walking that dog down the south side of Chicago.
Mike said he was walking that dog down the south side of Chicago. He got attacked by other dogs, some pit bulls and other things. Be like, what you worried, man? That's funny. That's the cool thing about cycling.
Yep,
You've never noticed that in a car.
Zanti group.
But I remembered that dog.
Feels so strong.
I was telling Paul, I said, I have really good legs today. I said, I feel strong today. I had a good week.
I took yesterday off.
Yeah, I was busy on Friday. So whenever I'm very busy, if I'm going to skip a workout, I skip a recovery workout or something like that. That's not an issue. And then, you can always get on a trainer and loosen up. But I try not to skip my main workouts. So if I have a recovery day or something and I get busy, I'd much rather do all my other stuff, all work-related stuff, on the recovery day, and then make sure I have time for my main training days. Yeah, we're talking about the little jig that you saw if you paid attention to the route map, the way they don't have to come out on Fishcreek. You can just stay in the neighborhoods on the way back. We're on 2978. We're going to be turning left on Honea-Egypt Community Road. At this point, that's the Zanti's group up there in the distance right there. We're going to be turning left. They're going straight. Darren and Pedro are with them. And I guess they thought we were going to go straight. Well, I posted the route, you know. And so the route calls for us to go this way. I like this road. It's a little longer to get out there, but you work. It has more panache. That's a French call.
You don't pay attention to detail.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you don't pay attention to detail, you don't know. You just kind of get sucked along. I did not know we're going this way. So they're the ones we're going to end up chasing in about probably, I would say 20 kilometers maybe. We'll see them in the distance and we start to do a rotating Paceline. It gets really smooth and sweet. So we're on the open road and it's time to ride. I'm wearing my lightest pair of socks, one of my lightest jerseys. That's the Itape. There was an Itape that was held and Rafa was involved, so they made a commemorative jersey. And so that's what that is. So there's about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 of us here. We started with 7. 2 of them went with the Zanti guys. But this is the perfect size group, 3 to 5, to where you can get a great workout. And as I said before, if you're near the front in a big group and you want to work, after you've pulled, try to slip in the top 10 so you can get your nose back out there. Honea-Egypt Community Road. This road just makes you want to ride. There's something about it. You got to find your Honea-Egypt road in your area and share that with us in the comments. Put the names or the address of your road that makes you want to ride when you get on it, when you're watching this film. Let us know. I will look it up. If you put the address there, I will look it up on GPS. Because every area has a road that once you get there, you just want to smash it, as Mike Barreras says. It's just something about this road. From the time I found it, I just always liked it. And it doesn't matter which direction you're going in, you can work. And coming back in this direction, in the opposite direction, right around this area here, we're gonna descend this entire stretch. If the group is animated enough, there are always splits. Because after the big bump, then this thing is just a drag for like 2 miles. We're on the open road, Honea-Egypt Community Road. Heading towards Honea, Texas. That's the benefit of a good position. I'm descending with no effort. So Mike Bradbury is going to pull for a while, and then Laura will take over. We ended up coming back off camera through a neighborhood that is next to the Grand Lake Estates. The next time we go through there, we'll try to run the camera and film it. A road called Majestic. Beautiful name, Majestic. There was a movie by Charles Bronson back in the day, and the character was called Majestic. It's a beautiful name, beautiful community, very few cars when we went through, and it was a nice change. Beautiful course. I'm looking for a smooth piece of the pavement here. Riding those Continental Competition tubular tires, and they just soak up the imperfections on the road so well. It's like, you're like, what bumps? I carry stands, no tubes when I use these. And in fact, when the weather gets better, I will actually bring out a spare tubular and wrap it around me like the boys Gino Batali and Fausto Coppi and them used to do in the golden years of cycling. I've done it once before. Mike Bradbury mentioned that. When he saw my bottles, he said, every time I see your bike, it's a little more retro. I like old stuff, especially the ones that work. I like to keep old stuff working. In my shop, I do a lot of restorations. People bring bikes that are older than you and I, and I bring them back to life. It's tough finding the parts, but you know, you can find them, make them work. You got to know how to work on bikes to make them work, because back in the day, they didn't mess around. I like the old stuff that's simple and it just works. So I'll blend the old and the new on this frame. I've got a carbon fork. It's a fork that is manufactured by Reynolds. They call it an Uzo Pro or something like that. I changed to this fork because the rake is more relaxed than the Ritchie fork that came with the frame originally. This rides a lot better, is more compliant for the style of riding that I do. So when you buy a bicycle, you need to make sure that you find one that suits the kind of riding you do. If you do criteriums, you want things that have aggressive angles, aggressive rakes, shorter stays, and so forth. So all of that matters for the kind of riding. This is a classic road frame, so to speak. It handles everything very well. And it has a relaxed seat angle of 72 degrees, which allows me to not have to use a very aggressive setback seat post. I can even use a straight post if I chose to. But with a 2.5 centimeter setback seat post, my saddle is perfectly centered in the middle of the rails, which allows the saddle to be more compliant and last longer. And I can move that thing back far enough for my long femurs. So there's a lot involved in getting a bicycle to fit you. It's an extensive process. It can be. It's not the lightest frame compared to what other people are riding, but I just love the way it feels. I will be bringing out my other frames from time to time. The titanium, the orange one will be the next one. They're all set up the same as far as angles, but they feel different. I've talked about them before. This bicycle communicates everything to me. I know what's going on. I can feel the tires. They tell me what the road's doing. The titanium does it very well. It does the same thing, but it keeps it a secret. It feels like a pit bull. The titanium feels like it's going to pick a fight. The Colnago communicates very well also, like this bike. It's something to do with the steel material. But the Colnago is a 72.75 seat angle, which I had to get an aggressive setback seat post to get that saddle back far enough. But all my bikes are set up at the same point in space where they meet my contact points, if you know what I mean. I had to use different stems and so forth to get them. So it's not easy for me to buy off the shelf because nowadays all these carbon bikes are 73, 73.5. I can't fit them. And it doesn't matter what size. There was a vendor, I think it was Canyon. All their bikes, a particular aero frame I was looking at for a client. And all the bikes were 73, I think 73.5 from the smallest to 2XL. I'm like, that doesn't even make any kind of sense. So there are other, Cannondale has more reasonable angles, but still, for some reason, they're trying to make one size fit all bicycles. It doesn't work that way. The taller riders need more setback, period, and a longer top tube. So we don't have to put very long stems. This bike was intentionally made with a short top tube because the guy who made it wanted it to be more racy, so to speak. So I'm riding a 14 centimeter stem on that one. And the angle is what they call -7 or something. Basically, it's a 73-degree angle, which puts you at 90 degrees with the road. I don't do those -6 and all that other stuff. I like everything level. Using my hips there to keep that bike where you see it. That's what you steer with. Your bike fits you well, you move your hips. It's like you glide. See that? Just smooth. The movements are more controlled. You just a twitch of the hip and it's just, you change your line. And it's smooth, so nobody behind you will panic. When the bike doesn't fit you or you're inexperienced, and with that combination, you look like, that's why they refer to you as squirrel, because a squirrel doesn't do anything smoothly when you think about it. They dart. You know. I'm adjusting that heart rate strap. I have to adjust it regularly. For some reason it keeps moving on me, so I want it to disappear. I don't want to have to think about it. So you can see why we like this road. If you want to work out, this is the road you come on. This is not for conversating. This is to put your nose down to the grindstone and pedal. I came on this road, I believe it was Thursday. Heading this way Thursday morning early. I left about 6 o'clock or 5:30, something like that. Gotta look up the time. I get up at 5:30 every day, regardless whether it's a weekend or not. I just stay on the same schedule. So it might have been 6 o'clock. But anyway, get out here. I was passed by maybe one car the entire time. Nobody's going north, even during the week. That was a 5% climb, which is muscled over, I believe. All I'm looking for here are the imperfections. See how I'm moving? I'm trying to find smooth lines. So is Paul. we kind of almost like we moved in unison, like we're riding a tandem. We know this road, and these guys have come and dropped blobs of asphalt that you see over there. Just what I call lazy patching. It's not squared away. If you're gonna patch the road, patch the road. Messing around, anybody can drop asphalt in the hole. So you want to ride fast, you got to train fast. I mean, you know, performance dictates. You want to do something, you got to try it in training. Even if it's for 10 seconds, try it in training. Then do more of it. Then when it's time to do it on the weekend, you'll be ready. But you got to get out there and do it. And allow yourself enough rest to recover from it. Whether you train him with a power meter or all the other stuff, doesn't really matter. What matters is, oh yeah, he put his arm up because there was a deer. I don't know if you even saw him. He was about to cross, and they're very skittish. What else to be ready to stop? Deer went from right to left. But what I was saying was that it doesn't matter what you got, power meter, heart rate monitor, whatever. You better get out there and do the efforts that you're going to be doing either with the group you're riding with or the event you're going to be doing, you know. And then you let all that other gadget stuff fall where it may. You got to go and do what you need to do. You know, if you doing an event where you got to climb a hill, you got to go climb that hill as fast as you can and see what you can do. Then you go back and look at those numbers, and then you use them to help you try to replicate or improve upon. Don't get hung up on the gear. Go do the work. Performance is the best indicator. You got to be able to do something instead of just talking about what you want to do. Just go do it and see where you fall. You want to climb a 10-mile climb? Go do it, or do repeats on 2-mile climbs and see what you can hold. Then that's what you use the gadgets for. You still got to do the work. Everybody can have power meters. That doesn't mean nothing. You got to do the work. You got to be willing to work and feel that burn. It takes determination. This is a drag the entire way. It says 1. It's around 1 to maybe 3% at the most, maybe 2.5. But you're climbing. And we're doing it very steadily here, 18 miles an hour. So when you're training by yourself, don't feel like you got to replicate the exact effort in the group. It will always be a little faster. What you want to do is get used to that rhythm. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, you know, sign up with a coach. They'll break it down for you. Right here is going to kick up. And all I do is I use cadence. See the watts go up? So because my bike fits me, you just saw me go faster. I didn't need to move or do anything. I just pedaled harder. Right there, I shifted up to a harder gear. So in about 5 kilometers, 3 miles, we're gonna see the Zanti boys, and it's gonna be on. We use them as a rabbit, basically. We're approaching 2854. The FM 2854. We are in Honea, Texas. Stand over the track, save your wheels.
Now we stop. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, man?
Good. How you doing?
Is that better?
That's Mike. Mike said how you can say good morning.
Lorita.
Laura did a strong, long pull for most of Honea-Egypt into Honea. We're going to be turning right on Rabon Chapel. Mike said we're going to have a love ride. A love ride is where you're just chilling. When you do your love ride, you got to pick your course correctly. You don't want to go down Honea-Egypt on a love ride. It's too narrow of a route. Mike goes ahead and takes his position back, the position he was in. And so he's got a pull. I'm going to sit on his wheel.
Listen to him.
He's like to say, Paulilanga. He calls Paul's full name. This road goes up. This is a grade, ninja grade. So you're working here. I mean, it was on 250, 300 watts, something like that. And when I'm riding, I don't really look at this stuff except glancing from time to time, let's say at peak power, let's say on a climb, just to see, okay, what am I hitting right here? Because you kind of feel it. But when you're riding, most of the time, power jumps all over the place. I have mine set on 3-second power, which smooths it out a little bit. They have different ranges, but 3 seconds is reasonable. You do something longer, and it really has very little value. Normalized power is good for when you're doing analysis. Power training is a science. There was a book I introduced to the channel by Andrew Kogan and another guy, Dr. Kogan. He's pretty well knowledgeable. The power are different. He uses what he calls levels as opposed to zones. And the reasoning being that power is so sporadic that you really don't have power zones. You have power levels because your power will peak when you accelerate around corners, jump hard in a gear, then it drops when you coast to like nothing. So there is no zone. It's just the levels that you can reach. It makes more sense. But it's a boring read, but necessary. It's like reading a science manual. Cycling, Mike Barreras mentioned this on the latter part of this ride off camera. He says cycling can become very addictive, and for some people, it can cause them to neglect taking care of the necessary functions and things in life. So don't fall into that trap. Plan your time. You have a time to cycle, you have a time to take care of business. That means do your laundry, do the yard, whatever it is your responsibilities are. Because you need that balance. You need your work so that you can buy cycling gear. That's just the logic. So I never had that problem, but we all have been tempted to where you wanted to say, I wish I could ride my bike all the time. You'd probably get bored if you rode your bike all the time. So I don't ride my bike all the time. I ride my bike frequently, but I also do other things frequently as well. That's the way you want to look at it. Have a time to ride, and you gotta do your laundry, you gotta wash your cycling gear, Otherwise, they get smelly because you're sweating in them. I don't keep my stuff hanging around. Wash them and hang them up. Do the micro loads. You know, so when we got our washer, I wanted to make sure it had a micro load. So I don't wait for large loads to do stuff because I do similar colors together. So, you know, 2-3 garments, 2-3 kits, put them together and just wash them and hang them up. Move on. But I was talking more about don't neglect your work because you want to cycle. You know, don't neglect taking care of business around the house because you want to cycle. That keeps the peace. If you're taking care of business, then you won't have issues and friction in other areas. You can't let your grass get overgrown if you're doing your own lawn and then you get a letter from the HOA and then you're upset because you've been putting in mega miles. That's an example there. Yeah. I haven't gotten a letter from the HOA yet, but I never do. I usually let my grass grow a little longer than my neighbors because my neighbors hire people that cut the grass, rain or shine, because they want to pick up that check. Because a lot of my neighbors will leave the check under the mat and stuff like that. And these guys got to justify coming every week. My grass does not need to be cut every week. Sometimes I do them every 2 weeks, especially this time of year in the summer. The growth is more rapid. As a result, I don't have to water them that much because I cut them very high. And I let them grow a little long before I cut them. I don't let it look overgrown. Because the other guys are just cutting them because they got to pick up money. The money I save from not paying people to cut my yard, I use it for cycling gear. It's up to $120 a week in my area to cut the yard because my yard is about almost an acre. So yeah, that's almost, I'm rounding up. Say $600. $600 or what's it, 120 times 4. So yeah, about $500 a month. That's what, $6,000 a year? That's some good kit. You know, that's the way you have to look at it. So whatever you can do, you can save money that way. A penny saved is a penny earned. Save money that way and use that for your cycling gear. So I intentionally, every week that I cut the grass, I move $120 to my cycling coffers. Because I would have gone to some stranger. Why would I pay somebody to do something I do really well? Because I used to do my parents' yard. And I have the equipment, I have the skill, and the capability. So that's not logical to pay somebody to do something like that. Plus, I enjoy it. Put on my headphones and put on my little muffler things to keep that noise out of my ears. And it's like I'm in my own little world. And it's almost like being on the bike in a way. You can work out different things when you cut in the yard. It's good. It's very therapeutic. I didn't realize I was going 500 and something on this hill. I was trying to keep it around 4 something. But we've already seen Zantis at this point. Yeah, the camera didn't really show them. They're in the distance and we see them. I don't stay up here too long. I pull really hard. Then I'm going to move a little to the left and I think Laura's going to take over. And then we're going to, in a little bit, we're going to start. There's a deer on the left that was hit by a car right there. They're very skittish, and whoever that car is, they got a dent on there because those things are dents. You hit them, you damage your car. You don't want to hit them to where they come through your windshield. They can really do some damage. I move a little to the left. Laura takes over. So to summarize what I've been rambling about is, do not neglect the necessary things in your life because of cycling. Cycling is a part of your life. It should not take over your life. That's a healthy way of handling any endeavor you get into. The same thing with work. Work should not take over your life. Work is a part of your life. Work supports your life. Work is not number one. Your God, your family, they're up there before you start talking about work. Nobody ever said on their deathbed, I wish I'd spent one more day at work. I don't believe so. It just doesn't work that way. So keep that in mind. So we see the lights in the distance. There's a couple of people being dropped from the group. So at this point, when I see them, my nose gets itchy. And I'm going to come by at about 27 miles an hour. It's time. It's time to get up there. Those guys are all over the road. There's just two of them all over the road like nobody else is using the road. There's a car, and you'll hear Paul say car, or somebody say car, because we take this corner here, and we wanted to go around them at the same time. And Mike Barreras picks up the pace. He starts to come around. One of the guys says, car back. He thought that was a car. We laughed about it later. And that's Dave on the right. Paul told me about it later. That's Dave. We know these guys. I know Dave. Laura waved. I did not wave. I was focused on sitting on Mike's wheel, because Mike came around me, and those big tires he's got, they come by, it sounds like a car coming. And sometimes when Paul and I are riding, his bike sounds like a car too. You just hear that tire, churn on the pavement. So we passed those two. The group that they dropped off of is ahead, and we see them. And we're deciding we're going to pull them in. That's the Zanti boys. It's with Weingrad, Mark Kate, a bunch of other people. Those are the guys that we're talking about. That instead of joining to become like, let's say maybe a group B or whatever, they just moved away and started riding from a different location. Instead of having different speed groups, they didn't like the infusion of our California speedsters raising the pace. So Team RR just fell apart. So we went and started our own group. They started their own. And it's all. This is Mill Route. I am on Mike's wheel because I don't want to spend any energy. So Paul's going to have to work up and get up to Laura's wheel here. And right here we start a rotating Paceline. We didn't have to talk about it. That's what it takes because it's windy and this is a roller. So I'm going to pull off. I pull off a little late because Mike doesn't really have a good wheel there. And this guy pulls up far in front of me as well. We're not smooth yet. We're going to get it. So Laura pulled through. She's going to drift to the right. Paulie Longa is going to pull through. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is a classic rotating Paceline that will allow you, the group is in the distance. That's them that you see up there. I'm not putting an arrow there.
No surging.
They're little spots. So Mike is saying no surging, keep it smooth. They see us coming, but there's not much they can do about it. It's on. We are moving. We're doing about 22, 23 miles an hour, and this is rolling terrain. So I roll through, and Mike says clear because he doesn't want me to leave a big gap. I look down, I can see his wheel right there. I give him the wheel. And then Mike B, he's a little further up when he comes over. That's okay. I'm feeling strong. I don't care. But that's it. So we've got the rotating pace that gives us an advantage to where you're working for a short period of time so we can go faster. Because all of us are spending very little efforts at the front. Short section pull up, like a 10-second pull or something like that. As soon as Mike pulls up, I go up. He slows down just enough. He says clear, not to slip in front of him. I can see his wheel, but I think he said clear just to help me out. And Laura pulled over, so we're on now. We got it going. You can't see that because they're behind the trees there, because this road curves around. Oh, there. I hope you can see that. They're right up there. That's where they are. And we're moving, man. 35, 37K. Yeah. In this terrain, yeah, it's on. You gotta be smooth. You gotta find the gear. You don't be shy. Every time I pull over, I shift. Because you don't want to burn your legs. You want to keep the effort. Don't worry about the speed, because as the road goes up, you want to keep the effort the same. You gotta have to downshift a little bit. It's like a time trial. Laura pulls to the right. Paulie Lunga comes through, takes his cut, drifts over to the right. This allows you to maintain a fast speed. They're in the distance. We can see them. See the red light there? We're getting closer. Mike Perez from San Diego, California. California Nation. They're right there. They end up stopping at Mill Rod like they always used to do. Typical Team RR stuff. If you stop over there, those two guys back there have no reason to work hard if they know you're going to stop over there. Go to Taco Corner. Let them ride to Taco Corner. And next time they will hang on longer. They will work harder. So right here, Mike decides to stay up front. I just sit on his wheel. This is a descent, and we were doing in excess of 25, 26 miles an hour. So we're in a steady line. They're right standing on the corner here. So falls down the road. So Mike looks, it's clear, because they're blocking the road. So Mike Weingrad is standing there. He says, slow down. But we had no intention of slowing down. We're just going to keep going. I'm not sure why they stopped there, you know. But they always used to do that when we rode with Team RR, just all these unnecessary stops. We're stopping at Taco Corner. It's 5 miles up the road. We're stopping here for it. So Mike Barrera is going to pull to the right. I'll go through. I won't stay there too long. Let's take a short pull and pull off. So I go through. I take a few strokes and go ahead and I'm going to get off the front. Right there. I put it in a large gear. Got a bit of a tailwind on this stretch here, but you're still working. It's a false flat. In about 3 kilometers, it's going to kick up, and then we'll go downhill towards the Highway 105 in Montgomery, Texas. So you can ride the same route every week, but depending on the company and what's going on, it's completely different. This was a completely different ride. It wasn't planned. We didn't plan to work as hard as we did, but just seeing that group up there gave us the impetus we needed to do the work. You can hear the wind. I believe the wind is coming a little from the east at this time anyway. That's why Laura is sitting a little to the left there. But you can hear it, and we're working because this road in the distance is going to curve and kick up. But right here, it kicks up a little bit and it's going to level off. It's relatively flat here, and then it's going to go downhill. You see the speeds go up. Kilometers an hour, 31, 32 miles an hour.
Yes, sir. Thanks to you, sir.
Laura is going to pull us into Montgomery, Texas. Kind of hoping we'd catch a green here. We ended up catching the longest red light we've encountered since we started coming out here, in my opinion. After a while, you would hear me say, "What's the deal with this light?"
Not like last week, huh? When we got the green. We need somebody to have a firefighter, you know, that can let us have that little clicker thing.
The firefighters can change the lights when they're going.
Change the light.
But you have to have a siren. You know, that's not, yeah. Mike's messing around. Yeah, nobody's behind us. Those guys standing on the corner.
That was well done in my favorite area, Mill Route.
Mill Route, yeah. It's hard to get a rhythm in Mill Route.
Yeah, but it was good. It's hard to maintain the effort. Yeah, it is. That's what I say. When the road goes up. Yeah, I think you got to back off.
Yeah, exactly. Most people think it's maintaining speed, but it's not. It's effort.
That's right.
So they're too hard on the uphills and too light on the downhills.
Correct. That is a correct assessment.
Downshift.
Yep. I hope you guys are getting this.
Yeah, because otherwise then you're going to hurt your big guys who will help you later.
Exactly.
So actually you're hurting the whole group by doing that.
Yeah,
you want the big men to be fresh on the
downshift and back off on
and
the
the whole group
climbs.
goes faster.
And then go, yeah, keep the effort the same. You hear me a little bit say, "What's the deal with this light?"
That was very nice.
Close the gap on that other group.
Yeah, you liked that, didn't you, Laura?
Yeah.
Laura.
When there's a rabbit carrot, I can't help it.
You know what Laura said is she whispered as a guy went by, she was going back in line, she goes, I want to break their legs. I want to rip their legs off.
I just like to catch them. I don't know why. It's always like a goal. If I see something, I
there's probably 2 or 3 guys on the front hammering.
Oh,
Everybody else is
man.
sucking wind, behind.
Pedro did not decide
We're
to
just kind of
come
rolling
join
along
us
in zone
again.
3 and
What is with this light?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, it's the longest light in the history of Montgomery. I mean, come on. I'm ready to ride. A lot of times in town, when I catch a light, I just go ahead and go right and do a loop and come back around the other street where the first opening I can get, just so I keep moving. You know, nothing illegal. I make a right turn if it's going to be a red light where you're sitting there. I make a right turn when it's safe, ride on that street, go down, do a U-turn, and then come back. That way I'm just moving, because once you come back, you can make a right turn to continue in the direction you had planned. Keep your heart rate up that way. We call it a loop-de-loop. I told Mike he flew into 2854. Weinger had to tell him to slow down. Weinger said, slow down. Slow down for what? You guys are in the way. Stop in the corner doing nothing in the middle of nowhere. Stop at a store. The store's down here. What are you stopping over there for? So you want to get faster, you got to ride faster by yourself or with a faster group. There's no other way around it. You got to do the work. And you got to keep it up, keep coming back. Do the work. You do the work, you will improve. Do the work, recover in the right loads for you, and you will improve. It takes time. It's not gonna happen overnight. The road is starting to level off. This road is very exposed. When it's windy, you got to really pace it well, because you get up here and that wind hits you and you've been pushing that hill, it can stop you in your tracks. We got a tight line right here. I look forward to these rides because during the week, it's not always practical to hook up with a group. For me, anyway. We do have some groups in the area that go out during the week, but most of my weekly rides are by myself. I do the work, go home, go back to work. I think this road up here is called Buffalo something. It takes us to Taco Corner. We are in Montgomery, Texas. Northeast of downtown Montgomery. Heading towards Taco Corner. These new homes on the left there. A new community being put up. It's nice. I'm telling Mike that somebody said car back when he was coming. They thought it was a car. Mark was going so fast he sounded like a diesel. And the guy said, "Car back!" Mike showed up.
We're coming so fast, the other guy thought we were a car.
Oh, yeah?
It's after his buddy car back.
Those two guys are mill route. I don't know what you guys did on Saturday,
That was
but
a Dave.
this was a nice chunk of what
Yeah,
we
that was
did.
Dave.
He was the one that said car back.
Yeah, this is Taco Corner. In a little bit, the rest of the guys will show up, but we'll be off camera.
You get these big wheels, I can get
So remember,
Yeah, I was showing
you get your
you.
K's in and keep every doctor. Fire.
But he came back really quick.
I thought you were saying something about the camera hiding the
No, I was saying that he was up there.